Hey guys, today I'm gonna show you a tutorial for a nice workflow from Marvelous Designer to Zbrush. It's quite easy, could be made in two different versions. I'm gonna show you the simple one with Zbrush without Maya, and let's say more complex with Maya, but in the end you're gonna use Maya for both of them, so probably I'm gonna just explain on the process how to adjust everything. So let's say that you've simulated everything in Marvelous and you're quite happy. Let's go to the particle distance. Let's say that it's 8. Press the space bar to simulate. Maybe we can catch from some better folds, I don't know, doesn't matter. It's important just when you're ready with Marvelous Designer, it's important to check some things. So it's important to not to have overlapping 2D patterns in the 2D pattern window, and in the upper part of the screen, let me pull the screen a little bit. You have the UV menu, UV editor, or you can even go here in the UV editor. The same trick is here. Doesn't matter if you have the UVs like in regular programs in 01 space, but it's important not to have overlapping patterns in the UV editor, because this workflow will not work. After you are done with checking this, let's go to the 2D pattern window. Let's select the patterns that you want to export to for sculpting. Let's go to File, Export, OBJ selected. Let's go on desktop, doesn't matter. Let's say that 3D pattern, thin, unweld. Select all patterns. We don't need the normal roughness, opacity, displacement. Would only check unified UV coordinates and to be thin centimeters, because the scene was at this scale, and just export it. Nothing magical. With the same patterns selected, right click on it, reset to the arrangement or selected. So the arrangement is the same, and to the pattern, right click, export, OBJ selected. Let's call it 2D pattern. Select all pattern, single object, thin, on unified UV coordinates, and we just export everything. Let's go to Zbrush. Let's import from desktop the 2D pattern. Did I check to be let me check again. I prefer not to delete everything to see what's the problem. So File, Export, OBJ selected, the 2D pattern, let me check. Thin, unweld, probably it was thick with unweld. Let me just go to Zbrush, import again, 2D pattern. Yep, so it's important to be unwelded, because they will weld the vertices. So what's the trick? The trick is to go from this topology, or let's say, let me go here and let's go to quad. Let me go here to see the mesh, the topology. Where are you? The mesh. So this is quite okay. When you're gonna have more complex folds, this will be a nightmare. It's not a game topology, so this is quite bad here. So how can we go from this, or the tree topology right here, to a super easy topology to work on it? So the first option is to import the 2D pattern here. go to geometry, go to zero mesh, click on half and just zero mesh it. This is okay. This will be your first subdivision to work on it. This is, let's say, let me try again, it's better, or even this, depends on how you work on Zbrush. I prefer everything to be quite low, so I'm gonna just hit this again. I'm gonna export it on desktop, and now we're gonna say 2D pattern underscore R, sorry, for remesh, and export it. Maya, I'm gonna import from desktop the 2D pattern from Marvelous. I'm just gonna press F to frame it and look from the front camera. It's easier for me. Let's get rid of the grid. Let's make a new material to be more friendly with my eyes. So this is better. Go here, import the remeshed map. So you're gonna have the almost the same topology. So the trick is, either you're not a freak of topology and you're okay with this, or you can make a live surface the 2D pattern for Marvelous and go here and try to adjust everything to have a super clean topology. Maybe even here go create a quad, a nice flow. Even here you can create a nice flow. Even here you can even delete them with no problem and just try to make a nice grid. But for the sake of this video, we can go without any problem with this topology. Is quite okay. Okay, we're gonna import the 3D mesh here, 3D pattern here. We're gonna just select an existing material like blend, just to be friendly with the eyes and the camera. I'm just gonna hide it. So it's important for me to transfer the attributes, I mean the UVs. Let me go here and outliner. The 2D pattern from Marvelous have UVs, and the 3D pattern from Marvelous has the same UVs. So I'm just trying now to transfer the UVs from the 2D pattern from Marvelous to the 2D pattern remeshed or even made by hand in Maya or any program. So how can I do this trick? I'm gonna select the 2D pattern from Marvelous. I'm just gonna select, holding the control key, the, let's say, second 2D pattern, the remesh one. I'm gonna go to mesh, transfer attributes, and click on this checkbox. And it's important to transfer only the UV sets. On the color set, do not select them. Everything should be like this, and the sample space should be UVs local, sorry, if I remember well. If I remember well, the workflow, the Marvelous, the zero mesh should have the same UVs like the 2D pattern from Marvelous, and then now we have the same UVs, so we can hide the 2D pattern from Marvelous, leave the 2D pattern remeshed or made by hand, retoupled by hand on the 2D pattern, and check with the 3D mesh that we have the same UVs. So everything runs smoothly. The same, I'm just gonna select the 3D mesh and the 2D mesh remeshed from Zbrush. I'm gonna go to mesh, transfer attributes, and I'm just gonna change the settings to on here to vertex position, vertex normal. I'm not trying to transfer the UV sets because we have the same UVs, and I'm gonna select the sample space to UVs, apply. So the trick is that now the zero meshed, someone command control 1, I'm just isolating the mesh. Now we have the mesh with the topology, quad topology. Of course, if we were super picky, we should made by hand, let's say, the 2D pattern, but it's quite decent. It's important to have this nice look. So we have the same nice topology, but we don't have the details. So go into this mesh with holding shift and right click. I'm gonna press on smooth, and I'm gonna subdivide the mesh 3 times. Looking quite decent, but we should repeat the workflow, selecting the mesh from Marvelous, the 3D mesh from Marvelous, selecting the 3D mesh that we transfer the attributes. We're just gonna go to mesh, transfer attributes, and just click apply. The remesh map, now we have a mesh with a nice topology to sculpt on, and with the details. Why we are doing this? We are doing this for creating a natural seam, like in reality, because this is a different part of material that are sewn together, and we can even go and create thickness, and you're gonna see some tricks, and we're gonna reconstruct subdivision. So we're gonna select this mesh. We're gonna just freeze transformation. The history is not a must. Export the selection on desktop, and we're gonna say 3D mesh. Going to Zbrush, we're gonna import the 3D mesh, and let me change the material with something more pleasing. So we don't have thickness, we cannot control everything, so it's a good idea to make some changes, and I'm gonna just go here to where is it, edge loops, and we're gonna try to make panel loops. So it's working, but the trick is that I could not give you an exact number on the thickness because it's ZBrush. So we're gonna just try to find a decent thickness for this. Tune off polish, because you don't want to have that rounded edges on the topology. For the bevel profile, it's better to have this kind of beveled profile, and an important thing is here to go to the loops and type 16. You're gonna see why 16. Press panel loops, and that's it. But we have to reconstruct the subdivisions to have a nice topology to work on. And the final step is to go to polygroups, auto groups, and now you can use move topological and fix this kind of problems super fast. Why I'm doing this kind of workflow? Because it's easier to have this kind of natural seams to split everything. Of course, to have something realistic in Marvelous, we had to stitch this together in the 2D pattern, but it's easier. You can even divide further, but the trick is that now you have natural seams, a nice topology to work on. So if you have some problems or big changes, you're gonna have a nice and friendly topology to work on. So, and on top of that, everything is non-destructive. So if you want to change something like, oh, I forgot to let's say stitch this together, just go to the Marvelous, repeat the workflow, and everything is great. But if you create a clean topology in the step that I've shown you right here, the 2D pattern, and we click zero meshed, and let me go here, let's click undo. Maybe I can go even here. So here, let me go. If you make this a live surface and go to the zero meshed, and you create a super nice topology, you can even match the vertices and the lines, you're gonna end up here with a super great mesh. And you can even go further and export this maybe as the second division as a low poly, and you're just gonna merge the vertices in Maya, and you're gonna have UVs and you're gonna have a big chunk of the low poly created by this workflow. So that's it, and have fun.